everyone, welcome back. Today we're talking about The Legend of Aang. I watched it, and honestly, I wasn't impressed. But before I get into that, let me be fair. I do recommend watching it. It was entertaining. I had a good time. Seeing Avatar Aang again after all these years, now as a young adult, genuinely made me happy. Watching Zuko, Toph, Sokka, and Katara all grown up put a smile on my face. The animation was gorgeous. Same studio behind Legend of Korra, and it shows. The fight scenes, the bending animations, the little nods to the original series, all great. No complaints there. But the story? Yeah, that's where things fall apart. Alright, we're heading into spoiler territory now. If you don't want anything spoiled, pause the video here. 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go. So, where do I even start? The film's biggest problem is that it completely ignores everything that happened after the 100-Year War. I'm not asking for a full recap, just something, anything, a glimpse of how Aang and the gang have been living, what the world looks like now. Instead, the film just drops us straight into a side plot with zero context and expects us to care. The villain group we're dealing with is called the Denieds. A bunch of non-benders who claim they've been marginalized and oppressed because of their inability to bend. And look, on paper that actually sounds like an interesting premise, but the film does absolutely nothing with it. We never learn who they are, where they came from, who's actually leading them, what they want to achieve if they win, or how they even came together in the first place. Their entire purpose in this story is to show up, look menacing, and be defeated. That's it. Fascinating writing, really. Now, our main villain is Togga, an airbender who, just like Aang, was frozen in ice. Except unlike Aang, Togga didn't end up there by accident. He was deliberately imprisoned. Here's the backstory. Togga was a student of Avatar Sonam, who learned from the lion turtles how to give non-benders the ability to airbend, using his staff. Sonam's goal was to bring peace and prosperity to the world. Noble stuff. But then, the Earthbenders started oppressing Togga and his people. So Togga snapped, stole Sonam's staff, connected it to a temple, and let the power of the spirit world flow through him, giving him an extraordinary level of power. Sonam had no choice but to seal him away in ice, and he stayed there, frozen, until Aang accidentally set him free. Side note, Aang spends most of the film in a pretty dark headspace because he's still the last airbender. So when he sees Togga, another airbender, his reaction is almost childlike excitement, which, fair enough, makes sense for the character. By the time all of this is explained, we're a third of the way through the film. And I want to be very clear, after sitting through that much runtime, the only thing we actually have to show for it is a revenge-driven villain with no depth and a mystery group that the writers clearly forgot to develop. So that's fun. Moving on, because it somehow gets worse. We learn essentially nothing about Republic City, how it was built, how it functions, what its future looks like. Nothing. You'd think a film set in this universe would take at least 5 minutes to flesh out the world a little, maybe throw in a small detail about how pro-bending got started, or give us some sense of what changed between the last airbender and Korra. Even the tiniest breadcrumb would have gone a long way. But no, the writers apparently had more important things to do. And then there's Togga himself. The man was frozen for 5,000 years. 5,000 years. You'd expect someone in that situation to have some kind of reaction to the world around him, to look at Republic City and be stunned, to see Appa flying overhead and actually register that something has changed. Instead, he wakes up, glances around, and immediately picks up exactly where he left off, like he just hit snooze on a 5 millennia alarm. No adjustment period, no curiosity, no reaction to literally anything. Just pure, instant villain mode. And to top it off, the film decides to just vaporize him at the end. The staff gets destroyed, Togga disappears, case closed. Which is honestly a waste, because keeping him around could have set up some genuinely interesting connections to Zahir and the Red Lotus later on. But sure, let's just delete him. Great call. Let's talk about the Avatar state, because this one really got to me. In this film, it's completely pointless. The only difference between Aang in and out of the Avatar state is that his eyes glow. That's it. That's the whole upgrade. Remember the Aang who fought Ozai? That Aang was terrifying in the Avatar state. This Aang is older, more experienced, has had years to grow and train, and yet when he enters the Avatar state, nothing changes. Even the brief flashbacks in Legend of Korra managed to make Avatar state feel powerful and significant. This film couldn't even clear that bar. The original series had a clear logic. Avatar state was the last resort, a massive power spike that actually turned the tide of a fight. Here, it's just a cosmetic effect. Glowing eyes, very scary, truly. A couple more things, because I can't just let them slide. Taga, freshly defrosted after 5,000 years, immediately airbends at a master level and takes on the Avatar and his crew without breaking a sweat. No warm-up, no rust, nothing. And the Denieds, who received their bending ability roughly 5 minutes before the fight scene, somehow managed to corner and push back Zuko, former Fire Lord, and Toph, the greatest earthbender alive. 5 minutes of bending experience versus two of the most powerful fighters in the world, and it's a close match. The writers must have had a lot of confidence in their audience's ability to just go with it. So, to wrap it all up, Avatar and the gang felt oddly weak, like they'd been nerfed specifically for this film to work. None of the villains had real motivation. The Denieds existed to fill screen time, and Taga existed to be a boss fight. The film serves no larger purpose in the universe. It doesn't build toward anything, doesn't reveal anything meaningful, doesn't even bother to tell us what the world looks like right now. Any filler episode from the original series did more world building than this entire film. And ultimately, The Legend of Aang feels less like a confident next chapter in one of the greatest animated universes ever made, and more like something that got greenlit without anyone stopping to ask what the point was. That said, and I'll say it again, watch it. The animation is genuinely beautiful, the nostalgia hits hard, and seeing these characters again is worth something. Just don't go in expecting a story. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the film. See you in the next one.